Presentan P1.
Conoce Termas de Río Hondo, en Santiago del Estero.
Pauni, www.pauni.com.ar.
Citroën.
I'd say it scared us a lot. You know, obviously the angle he hit the wall is very bad, and obviously he had to suffer the couple months. But then he come back in this race. You know, within only less than 3 months, right? So he did a great job to recover, and I think safety team and the doctors did a great job. And you know, I think that shows even hit the wall over 230 miles per hour, you receive the 150 G-force, you can still do go racing and healthy. So that's very important for us.
A prescindere che l'automobilismo è uno sport di passione, il motorsport in generale è uno sport che attira molto appassionati, tuttavia rimane uno sport pericoloso. Quindi questo come concetto non bisogna mai dimenticarlo. Qualsiasi cosa si voglia fare al fine di migliorare la sicurezza, implementando nuove tecniche, nuove tecnologie, rimane sempre uno sport pericoloso, dove la componente umana è fondamentale e per quanto bisogna preservarla nel modo possibile.
Well, you know, with IndyCar we're always pushing the technical boundaries of the car, what we can do from a safety standpoint. We try and make the cars as safe as possible. You know, you cannot foresee every type of accident. You can't prevent everything. You know, the same in other sports too. There's always accidents that can happen that you can't predict or prevent at all times. But I think with IndyCar, they're always trying to be as forward-thinking as they can be and trying to push safety as much as possible. With the Dallara tub that we have now, it's as safe as we can make it. We're always making modifications, always changes whenever we see a new accident or a new potential for injury. So I think IndyCar is at the cutting edge. They're always trying to be at the front of what we can do to make the cars safer. And you know, I think that's why we have such safe race cars. It's why we feel confident to go and drive the cars. And if we have a wreck, we feel good that we're going to be okay, because we're always pushing that boundary. We're always trying to make the car a little bit safer.
E abbiamo apprezzato molto questi complimenti e questo clima positivo che si è creato a seguito di questi terribili incidenti che fortunatamente sono comunque risultati in un modo molto positivo per i piloti. In ogni caso sono il frutto di uno studio e per cui la Dallara è sempre concentrata a migliorarsi.
Entonces este es el coche porque va a correr en el 2018, porque el paquete aerodinámico que estamos viendo es para el Speedway, que en vez de circuito sería el óvalo, correcto. El monocasco sigue siendo de la serie del 2012, pero ha tenido modificaciones que lo ha traído hasta las regulaciones del 2018. Y como pueden ver, en términos de aerodinámica, el auto ha sido muy simplificado, ya es más, en comparación al Honda y el Chevrolet que vimos el año previo, es mucho más simple, más elegante, que para mí sinceramente lo prefiero, ¿cómo no? Y le han quitado mucho presupuesto en términos de perfiles aerodinámicos, que eso sinceramente es lo que aniquila a los equipos. El paquete aerodinámico previo de Honda, por ejemplo, tenía muchas aletas particulares que también no tenían la rigidez estructuralmente para aguantar impactos, golpes. Los pilotos en este momento están muy acostumbrados a tener un paragolpe trasero al menos en últimos años, nunca he tenido la posibilidad que la goma delantera pegue con la goma trasera, que causa el auto al levantarse. Con el auto choca contra la pared y hace, vamos a decir, 180 grados y va en trasera. Se levantan y ayuda el auto que se mantenga. Eventualmente, cuando lo monten, estos van a ir arriba del defusilador, porque ya no tiene más paragolpe trasero el auto. Es bastante ingenioso porque, en vez de usar una bisagra mecánica, le hicimos una bisagra de goma y fibra de vidrio. Y en la laminación, la introducimos en la laminación, que eso, sinceramente, es un diseño mucho más limpio. Bueno, entonces este es el paquete aerodinámico de circuito para el 2018. Y como pueden ver, es un cambio muy drástico en comparación al de Chevrolet y Honda que vimos previamente. Los radiadores los trajeron más adelante para introducir, esto en inglés se llama Side Impact Structure, que sería, si hay un choque lateral, para proteger al piloto, trajeron los radiadores más adelante para ayudar a absorber la energía. Entonces, esto es una de las cosas nuevas que tiene, incluso esta pieza es más estructural, no es superficial. La fibra esta que ven es híbrida. Esta fibra, ves que es blanca, significa que tiene fibra de carbono y tiene Dyneema. Dyneema es como Kevlar, similar a Kevlar. Y está puesta en la laminación superficial porque tiene propiedades más, ¿cómo te puedo explicar? Más mecánicamente, más fuertes que la del carbono. Entonces, el propósito es que las partes cuando fallan no se explotan, se mantienen todas en una, es para eliminar. El carbono se explotaba. Claro. El cono del óvalo tiene el ajustador que tiene dos rulemanes, dos esferas. Está sostenido, el main plane está sostenido por dos esféricas y después se ajusta por acá en el centro. Entonces se mueve todo el alerón. La diferencia del circuito es que es estático, pero tiene el ajustamiento, viste, justo acá en los end plates. Le podés acá agarrar, Diego, el mecanismo. Sí, con este lo vas girando.
Well, Dallara made a great job to build up the cars very strong. And as we have a kind of spec series, we use a lot of safety concerning on the across the paddock. It's the number one thing. Of course, in Formula 1, the same too. But since Dallara is able to build such a strong car, and we introduce a safe wall, we introduce a hands device. I think it's a lot of high speed actually productive for the number one safety, and that's why I think IndyCar has gone as fast as any other category, but I think one of the safest the race car actually.
¿Y si la realidad fuese lo más emocionante que pudieses imaginar? Nuevo Peugeot 3008. Nunca un SUV llegó tan lejos.
Conoce Termas de Río Hondo, en Santiago del Estero, Argentina.
Pauni, la
La fuerza de la mayoría. En Argentina, 6 de cada 10 tractores son Pawny. Pawny. www.pawny.com.ar.
Nuevo Citroën CLG. Disfruta el espacio que te mereces.
Citroën.
En 1911 se disputó aquí la primera competencia automovilística. Estamos en el Óvalo de Indianápolis, amigos de P1, uno de los lugares, tal vez el lugar más sagrado a nivel automovilístico de todo el planeta. Y en esta primera curva, hace 2 años, se acordará usted, y lo va a ver en las imágenes, que Juan Pablo Montoya tuvo que bajar el neumático delantero izquierdo, el trasero también, hacia el pasto. Se metió hasta por aquí en aquella maniobra para definir su triunfo. Fue el triunfo del colombiano, realmente muy festejado. Cómo tuvo que maniobrar, hasta se levantó polvo en esa maniobra, pisó la tierra y logró controlar el auto. Bueno, estamos aquí, a donde fue esa maniobra en la primera curva de Indianápolis.
Se viene la definición de las 500 de Indianápolis. 1-2 de Penske por dentro, mira Muñoz por afuera, y Dixon que se mete segundo. Dixon que le gana la posición, Montoya que pelea por la tierra. Montoya por la tierra, pero estás viendo lo mismo que yo pongo. Montoya le dobló por la tierra y le ganó la segunda posición a Dixon. Es increíble.
Y vamos a llegar a uno de los inventos fundamentales en la seguridad, en la historia de seguridad del automovilismo mundial, que lo ha aplicado en principio Indianápolis, luego del pedido de Tony George con estudiantes de la Universidad de Nebraska, se realiza el Safer Barrier, ¿sí? Que son placas rectangulares, ¿sí? bien de cuadriláteras, digamos, cuadradas, en tiras a lo largo de hierro, ¿sí? huecas, hierro, y atrás este poliuretano expandido que tiene una explicación el formato, ¿sí? Porque debido a la cantidad de centímetros cuadrados que tiene aquí, por supuesto que la presión es menor y ahí se va a introducir más fácil tras un impacto la Safer Barrier. Ahora, cuando empieza a llegar aquí, ya estamos hablando de impactos mucho más fuertes, como puede haber sido el de Sebastián Bourdais en la clasificación de las últimas millas de Indianápolis. El Safer Barrier usted vio que se fue bien hacia atrás, hasta el paredón, sí, acá está el paredón, lo que era antes el circuito de Indianápolis con la Safer Barrier se ha perdido prácticamente en todos los óvalos 1 metro de ancho, pero no influye porque son muy anchos los circuitos y cuando el impacto es tan fuerte el Safer Barrier vuela hasta aquí atrás, pero esto hace que esa amortiguación más la seguridad de un auto de IndyCar o un auto de NASCAR, pero un auto de IndyCar, el Dallara, que es tan seguro, logre salvar la vida. Sebastián Bourdais terminó simplemente con una fractura de cadera para un impacto de 372 km por hora, realmente es poco.
So the Safer Barrier may be the best safety invention in motorsport in the last 50 years. Fire retardant suits, helmets, the Hans device, all as it relates to the driver are really important. But especially on ovals, without safer walls, we probably would have a lot more injuries than are sustained today. The Safer Wall actually started here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway through the Holman George family and the University of Nebraska, and so we're on what's really now our next version of Safer Barriers, but the first version started here, and when the Holman George family went to the rest of the racing community and said we want to try this, people looked at them like you're crazy that styrofoam and steel is going to make a difference for these race car drivers. And when they were able to prove the concept here at the Speedway, we were the first track to adopt it. That's when other tracks and other sanctioning bodies began to invest in it, and we've taken it to even a newer level now. As a track operator, we have to think a little bit differently because the amount of foam that you put in for a NASCAR race is different than the amount of foam you put in for an IndyCar based on the weight of the cars and the rebound of the steel. So we have to manage through that. Depends on who's running on track and which directions they're going to go. But that is one of the best, if not the best, safety innovation around motorsport in the last 50 years. Typically, when you have an impact like that, the safer barrier, it rebounds and has no issues. So what we're going through and looking at our foam a lot, replacing foam quite a bit. The only time that you really end up having to replace big panels is when you've had a complete crushing or a disintegration of one of the tube frames inside of it. Oftentimes, in event time, if you have an incident, you can actually weld a panel over it, and it really doesn't do anything to the integrity of the safer barrier. This fall, for example, we'll go through and probably replace 4 or 5 panels. They come in 28-foot segments. It costs about 500 feet per linear foot to do that. So it's about $14,000 a panel to replace those. So we'll go through and we'll replace them each year, the ones that we feel like are beginning to get to a point where some of the safety ability of them is taken away. So that's certainly something that we have to keep up with.
Montanari, concesionario oficial Volkswagen, Ford y Fiat en Pergamino, Volkswagen en Junín y multimarcas en Colón.
But at every event we have 16. We have a paramedic on every rescue truck. We have 2 rescue technicians, and we have a crew leader. So it's a crew of 4 on each of the 3 trucks. And then we have a medical car that has a doctor, and on ovals we have an orthopedic surgeon also, along with 3 nurses that travel to every event. The first truck will go to the car to take care of the driver, and their first priority is obviously medical care to the driver if the driver is unconscious. But if the car is on fire, we have a fire crew with them that will put the car out, and the paramedic will be taking care of the driver. The second truck goes to the point of impact, because we have high-speed impacts. There could be damage to the track. There could be fans injured or workers injured where the car hit the track. So we assess that automatically. One truck goes to the car, one goes to the point of impact. An Indy car is designed by Dallara to absorb a lot of energy. So it breaks up into a lot of pieces. So it leaves a lot of debris on the racetrack. So you hit the wall, that all the way to where the car comes to rest. So the third truck then is taking care of that debris field in the middle. So that's our protocol. When we talk about codes, we have medical codes for our drivers. We know that a code 1 is a very simple crash, no injury to the driver, everything's okay. So if we hear a code 1, that means the driver's fine. They'll still be checked out by the medical staff. If they hit another car, hit any kind of fixed object, then they'll go in. A code 2 is minor injuries, may or may not need a ride to the hospital, but they will be assessed. That might be a wrist injury or a foot injury, but it's nothing serious to the head or the torso or any type of serious trauma. A code 3 is if we have an altered level of consciousness. So the driver has now lost consciousness at a certain point, they're not responding appropriately. We know there's something a little bit more significant going on. And then a code 5 is a very significant multi-systems trauma where the driver is in serious condition and we need to work very quickly to extract the driver and get him to a hospital. The toughest complication with the Hinchcliffe incident a few years ago was that actually part of the car actually came in and entrapped him in the car. So we couldn't get him to the hospital or get him in an ambulance until we resolved that aspect of it. In the meantime, he had a life-threatening bleed that was going on that made seconds count. So it was a situation where once we recognized that he was bleeding and he was hemorrhaging, that we had to make some very quick decisions, get him in an ambulance and bypass the track hospital to get him to the trauma center. And obviously the trauma center, they were stood up ready for surgery and took him right into the surgery suite. We used our Homaltro rescue tools, power hydraulic tools, to actually spread the tub, which was compressed in on his sides. And what that did was it spread the car out this way, and then it released the part that actually came through and had him trapped in the car, and that allowed us to get him out of the car and get him to the hospital for surgery. Obviously, IndyCar tries to stay on the cutting edge of technology and safety for their drivers. And they're always looking at what other aspects of racing that could make it and development of the cars. I can tell you right now that we have looked at the halo design. There's been 3 or 4 designs in Formula One to protect that driver. They're looking at shrouds or windshields. But I think it's all in development right now. There's a lot of thought to go into that. You know, the driver has to be able to see. It can't have a negative impact on how the car performs out on the racetrack. That could cause another safety issue. We have to be able to get the driver out of the car. If the driver's not able to get out, the halo or the windshield cannot be in the way. So it can't obstruct us. We can't have one safety issue put in play that's going to cause other complications. So it is being looked at by the IndyCar research and development people. We see prototypes of them occasionally from time to time of what they're doing, and I'm sure they're working close-knit with Dallara to make sure if there's a change in the car that they'll be able to do those types of things.
Aggiungendo certi disegni o cambiando concettualmente un concetto base, un disegno base di una vettura, si modifica tutta quella che è l'identità stessa della vettura. La macchina da corsa, l'open wheels, è un cockpit aperto e bisogna, come dire, disegnarlo e accettarlo come tale. Si può migliorare, assolutamente, certamente. Con questo non voglio dire che il Halo andrà sostanzialmente a modificare un concetto come dire, culturale di auto da corsa piuttosto che un'altra cosa.
Yeah, you shouldn't agree about it, you know. I mean, obviously it's not as beautiful as it should be. Well, it looks right now, but I think safety has to become to the first. So I completely support FIA's decision that the Formula One has to use a Halo, and then hopefully us IndyCar could follow very, very soon.
I don't know enough about it at this point to feel comfortable discussing about what the protocol or what device we're going to entail if we end up doing that. I do feel comfortable that once we make a decision what IndyCar is going to do, very similar to changing the aero packages from this model this year to next year, that they invite us in very early so that we know what the changes are, so that we're comfortable working around the Dallara car week in, week out whenever there's a crash.
Bisogna tenere presente anche un concetto di estetica, un concetto di cultura della open wheels e open cockpit, il tutto amalgamato con che la sicurezza rimane sempre la cosa principale delle automobili, del campo delle corse, e che il motorsport è uno sport pericoloso.